Jeff Nichols, until I happened to meet you, was wondering what decided you to accept this patronage here in Morocco?
I've never been to Morocco. To be honest, I had been to the continent of Africa, and Remy and I have been friends since Credit Suisse when we bought that program. And so he's kind of been, we've been exchanging emails for a really long time. And when he reached out about this, I was at good places, people to come and actually get my attention and my time. Sometimes when you're making films, it's just impossible. But I'm writing right now, so it was a good time for it. And, it was kind of a moment in my life where I wanted to look outward to the world.
So looking outward to the world as taking your calls for what you're doing, or maybe because the era right now is drawing us to that?
Probably both. Seems like an interesting time to learn more about Sparkle filming as part of the world and what they have to say, what they're trying to say. True, the artist workshops are about is that they're actively trying to form a voice for themselves, but get that voice for out in the world. And it's always interesting for me to hear how filmmakers that are just trying to get their early projects made, just how they're going to do it. Kind of fascinated by that.
Yeah, because I was wondering if you were expecting anything as someone who may not have had an experience with the Arab world before. We always had expectations of things we don't know.
Good question. I think so. I certainly didn't know what I was in terms of people relationship to a lot of projects. Tried to do my cast with the Americans. You need to watch all the shortcomings that the filmmakers had made, and in the system development, there were 12 projects I needed to read all the scripts. Just read the descriptions and then looked at their previous work, and I have to say, I can't say I was expected anything, but I certainly can also say once I encountered that work, I found exactly about to be fine, which is an emotional approach to storytelling. This is how connect universally with our stories. It's not really about plot, or it's not really about necessarily even the subject matter. It's how the stories are told, and if you can create an emotional connection between an audience and the people on the screen, and these projects seem to be doing that.
What did you learn? I know you came here to mentor, but as a mentor, did this experience in the Atlas workshop bring you on the personal level?
Truly give you an honest answer. Obviously, you're confronted with the fact that these areas face up trauma. That trauma is not it's not just a personal experience. It almost seems foundation to some places. And I see here is coming up. This is not even the project, this is just people. It
surprised you?
I don't know if surprise is the right word, because it wasn't like I was, put off by it or anything, or, it's so humanist. It's so attractive to laugh with someone, or to meet someone that's willing to laugh, even if they're writing a project that it's just talking about basic serious issues. Seemed to do what I hoped for with that work. A human amazing.
I spoke to some of the filmmakers before today, and 100% of the people I spoke to told me the same thing about you, which is he watched everything he made and he remembered everything. I was surprised he knew my name or knew what films I had made. It's very surprising because when you work, I don't want to use the word Hollywood with you, Nicola.
Yeah, I don't live in Hollywood.
Yeah, and also your cinema does not scream Hollywood, even though it's Hollywood. And it's surprising to most people. Maybe it's not your place to answer that, but how would you, this sense of memory of having something to say to every single person you meet, bring your attention to their work, where does that come from?
You know, I grew up in Arby, so how we didn't, we didn't have a ton of money, or so on the front side of things, I feel responsible. This festival invest in we made it for my brother Obrigay, put us in a beautiful hotel. You know, these projects are worth my time, and honestly, I would have given more of it had they asked. And so I felt a responsibility to understand view artists' thoughts. You know, filmmaking is a really pragmatic thing. It's very practical. Take a camera out of the load, set up, big and nimble. You have to decide not just what you're going to film, but how you're going to film, what's I going to set. And so the only way to be useful to these participants was to know something about what they've done and because some filmmakers are at we're all at different places in our life and what we understand and what we're good at. And so to be able to look at a short film was extraordinary, or a previous work. But just from watching that, needing to understand where this person's coming from and kind of where to meet them. And because the same advice doesn't apply to everyone necessarily. And so I just felt a responsibility. It's a privilege to get to talk to filming these. The one thing I learned a while back, because I've done a lot of these, not like these, not huge house. I've spoken to like filmmakers of the last 10 years. You're always afraid you could mess them up. Yeah, you never want to say anything disparaging, discouraging, but you also want to say things that are useful and are practical, what they can actually walk away with and actually impacts the thing they're doing. But after a while, you realize if they're a real filmmaker, you can't knock them off track. Yeah, they're going to get it done normally how to, because that's what it takes to be a filmmaker. And so that kind of puts us at ease.
Yes.
And no that pressure. Yeah, and then you can really kind of get up into it. Starts to talk about what it is they need to get done in order to make sure they come resident.
You wrote every single one of your projects. It's from A to Z. You write and you direct. So storytelling for you, where I see it in a bit neuron, is almost like a therapy for you. For you tell your own stories. Is that correct to say that it's a therapy, or because I also take shelter as it's therapy?
It's therapy for somebody. The longer that I do this, I realize these projects reflect where I am in the world through the times of the nation. It's a very good thing that we're not allowed to go back and change our films. Because Chef Nichols today would take shelter of the sacred pus. They're like time capsules that show not only what's going on in the world, or really how I'm experiencing, how I'm feeling. Now, you can have storms in the sky, you can have laser beams shooting out of kids' eyes, but the heart of all those stories really reflects my relationship to the world at that time. And that's my responsibility as a storyteller. And in that sense, it is there, because you're really thinking about where you are, what you're feeling, what are you scared of, what terrifies you, what makes you laugh. These are the things that I try to put in the film, and you have to have a point of view, and you have to have you're constantly asking questions of yourself about where you are in position to the rest of you. And it's what I try to do. With all my stories, it's honestly what keeps them interested. I think if they were about the other things, if they were just about plot or just about cameras or the lighting or the actors, I think that would fade pretty quick. When I talk about my old films, I'll get Vuestorms talking about what it's about, and that's because they were emotional. So it's what I try to do at each time to rest.
Didn't they invite Michael Shannon?
Did they?
They should have.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, it's hard for me to go anywhere without him.
Don't you? guys, and
Yeah, me too. You know, I think he's been in Eastern Europe for a really long time, shoot back-to-back projects. So when I get home, I'm due to catch up with him. I'm about to finish a new script too. Yeah, I will call.
and of course he's gonna be.
Of course. Well, he's always got to say yes. I never take it for granted. So.
I'm sure he will.
But I'm right on both parties, for sure.
I'm sure you do. Thanks for bringing Michael Shannon to us anyways.
Oh, yeah, he had a lot to
Yes, and thanks for coming to Morocco. It was a pleasure meeting you. Just stay ghost.